Hello everyone. Today we'll be going to discussing about Pareto Principle, and I'll be showing you guys a strategy by which you all can boost up your conversion by almost 300 times, particularly if you're running your own agency or if you're handling a large number of your clients. Nevertheless, this principle is not only restricted to your own business, but this can be utilized for any real life circumstances. So let us understand how this works. Okay, first let us understand what exactly is a Pareto principle. Now, this is exactly a principle which have been laid down by Vilfredo Pareto in the late 1906 by a famous Italian economist. And the main purpose of this principle is that he suggests that any 80% of the outcome of any particular thing is only achievable by 20% of the inputs. In other words, suppose in any business the 80% of the revenue is driven by 20% of the customers. In any restaurants, 80% of the you can say like the dine-ins or the takeaways or the revenues are collected by the 20% of the customers. And the similar thing can also be seen on some of the real-time circumstances, such as 80% of any of the lands are owned by 20% of the richest people. The similar thing can also be seen in some economical way or in an economic way of a country, such as like 80% of the tax is only collected by 20% of the wealthiest citizens. Now you might be wondering how this is possible or how this can be really incorporated in any marketing strategy or a business strategy. So this is how this is done. So today I'm going to take a very practical example of my own business. So before getting further into that, let me first tell you guys that for digital marketing I have taken 8 of my teams. Now each of my teams have different team members, like team 1, team 2, like this up to team 8, and every of the team comprises of its own like team members, such as team leaders, project managers, designers, developers, content creators, and so on. Now the basic principle is that at first I have given the order that every team member should choose 20% of their top performing client as per this rule. Now when I mean top performing client, let me tell you guys that top performing, I do not mean revenue wise which client is bigger, but rather the client should follow 5 basic principles. Principle number 1, the client should be friendly enough, because in other words, like whenever you're working with a client, the client should be very much friendly. Like sometimes we do encounter clients who are rude or who are arrogant or who even shows off too much about his business, who does not even care about their vendors or the people who are working for the company. So this should not be the case. So the point number 1 is the client should be extremely friendly with the ongoing day-to-day operations. Point number 2 is the client should be very much active and responsive. Sometimes we often encounter that if you provide any update to a client, the client might take a weeks or even a months for giving some approval or some like you can say some kind of responses. But this should not be the case. The client should be very much active and responsive to every single updates and activities which we are or which we will be performing on a daily basis. Point number 3, the campaign of the client should be on a good standing. Definitely you don't want to choose a client whose campaign is struggling for some reason or whose campaign is not on a good stand. So this should not really be the case. So the campaign really should be on a good standing position. Point number 4, the client should minimum serve you or minimum should have stayed with you for 6 months, because definitely you should not try this principle with any of the newcoming clients, because this really does not make any sense. If any client just onboarded and if you try to convert him or upscale him even more, then this is something which is a bad marketing strategy and I would never advise that. So make sure that the client is like served a minimum of 6 months with your company or an agency. Can be 8 to 9 months also, depending upon your nature of the business, but this is the practical figure. And last but not the least, the client should be very smooth to work with. Now when I mean smooth, the client should really coordinate well with the teams. If the team wants something in return from the client, then the client should easily coordinate that. So there should be a healthy environment between both the client and also the vendor side of the thing. So if you want to skip this part, like TLDR, too long didn't read, then the 5 points are as you like. The first thing is you should make sure that the client is very friendly. Point number 2, the client should be very much active and responsive. Point number 3, the client's campaign should be on a good standing position. Point number 4, the client really should stay with you for a minimum period of 6 months. Like in other words, make sure that this is not a fresh client, and it really depends on campaign versus campaign. For instance, if you're on the real estate segment, then 6 months might be a too short period. In that case, it can be 2 years also, but once again, it depends upon your niche. For my case, this is 6 months. And last but not the least, the client should be very much coordinative, and the client should be coordinating well with your team members. Now, based on this criteria list, as you can see, for all of my 8 teams, I have broken down the number of clients. For instance, let me say an example that team 1 might have 100 clients, team 2 might have 130 clients, team 3 might have 50 clients, team 4 might have 80 clients. Now, like as per this rule, I have accumulated 20% of the clients which is falling under those 5 categories and listing them all out across all the 8 teams, and I am accumulating all of them all together, and I'm making a final list. Suppose from team 1, suppose 20% of 100 clients, that is 20. For team 2, maybe like 20% of 130 clients, which is near about 35. So like this, I'll be making a final list, and suppose, let's say for an example, that the final list of the client have arrived to 50. So this is the ultimate list by using a Pareto principle, which you have obtained 50 client. And now here comes the business part of the thing. Now this 50 list which you have filtered, this you have filtered using the Pareto principle, which means that if you nurture these prospects, or if you nurture these ongoing clients using some nurturing techniques, which I'll be also discussing in this video, then you'd be also having a greater chance of converting or upscaling them into a higher package. So come, let us see how. Okay, now once you have gathered the full list of 50 clients using the Pareto principle, like suppose you had 500 campaigns, and after 20%, like you have literally filtered everything and you have came down to just 50 clients. Now once this is done, then your next immediate step would be, for every single of the clients, you can instruct your respective team leaders to make a dedicated and an advanced strategy for your business. Once again, this is different for different business. For me, I would instruct my team to create some advanced marketing strategy. If you are on the real estate segment, you can create some new floor plans or some new development plans. If you are on the medical segment, then you can suggest some new antibiotics for some overall body development. If you are on the health and fitness segment, you can suggest some more nutrition. And once again, this really is different for different segment as a whole. And once you have made the entire customized proposal or the presentations, then do not simply pitch or sell, rather ask for an appointment or a meeting. So you can simply use some of the common pitches. One of my favorite is you can simply request to a client like, hi respected sir or madam, and if you have any availability for this week or next week for a discussion of an advanced strategy which we have made for your campaign, then we would be very much appreciated. So I really look forward to your availability for the next week. And by using this statement, you can kind of increase the curiosity on the minds of your customers, like you want to provide them something extra beneficial for their campaign, and you have done a customized level research for their campaign as a whole. Now once this is done, you can simply send out an availability or a appointment setting letter to them. Once your prospects or the clients responds to that by setting an appointment, then on the appointment you can upscale them. Now when I mean upscale, you can simply approach to them by saying that you have made like a more advanced strategy for their campaign for increasing their performance up to the next level, for which you can increase your number of resources. You can even offer good stuffs if you are into the different businesses. So it's more like your like an upscaling treatment, like you can upscale your customers with the help of that presentation. And in the end, if the client even increases their budget by $100, like $100 multiplied by 50 is $5,000, and considering you have a minimum of 1 year contract, then that is $60,000 in a single year. So this simple technique can work in any vertical. So this is the technique which I have personally worked for my own field. And also this is a win-and-win situation, because this gives me a good chance of exposure for increasing my revenue stream, and at the same time the clients are also getting a customized touch that the team or the vendors are thinking good about their businesses and they are trying to upscale this further. And combining the strategies, your business revenues can really increase by an average of 300 times over year on year or YOY. So I hope this particular principle you can use on your daily lives. So you can hit down on the comments and let us know if you have tried anything similar with your business. Thanks for watching, and see you on another video.